Hello, my name is Brian Vollmer and I've been singing professionally since 1974 and I've been teaching professionally since 1987. In my 30 plus years of being a vocal coach, I've come across many teaching techniques which have no basis in science and actually hurt the voice more than they help. There are also many statements concerning singing that are also untrue, and I'm going to discuss a few of them with you right now and use common sense examples of why they're false. Here are some of the commonly taught vocal techniques and statements about singing which have no basis in science. Number one, you have to drop your jaw and open your mouth to project sound. Number two, some singers can sing more than a 3-octave range. Number three, the diaphragm needs to be exercised. 4, mouthing of the lyrics produces better diction. 5, push out or push down with your stomach to use your diaphragm. Number 1, dropping your jaw and opening your mouth to project sound. I would imagine this bad vocal technique started when little Johnny in grade 1 was too shy to sing, so the teacher thought the way to get sound out of him was to make him open his mouth. As many singers have gotten older, they've taken this to heart and truly believe the way to get sound out of their body is through their mouth. But this is false. Sound actually travels and projects through the bone in the front of your face by sound waves. If you watch me while I make a loud sound, you'll see that my mouth is barely open. Watch. So you can see that my mouth is barely open and yet I can make a loud sound quite clearly. So that is a simple example to prove this technique of dropping your jaw and open your mouth as being very untrue. Now, here's the really bad thing about opening your mouth and dropping your jaw. It causes terrible tension around your vocal cords, which causes sore throats and, in extreme cases, nodes or polyps. Vocal techniques which require the singer to drop the larynx cause tension as well. And this is a very bad vocal technique. It's a German technique and I disagree with it 110%. And I can prove this very simply. If you take your hand and you put it flush around your neck like this and then try to drop your Adam's apple or larynx, you can feel all the muscles immediately tighten up in this area around your vocal cords, and this is because of a basic misunderstanding of the muscles of the neck. There are muscles in your neck for breathing, for speech, and for swallowing, and when you push your larynx down, as I just did, what happens is your body thinks that you're swallowing food, and it tightens all the muscles down through your gullet to pull food into your stomach. So once again, dropping your larynx or opening your mouth and dropping your jaw causes extreme tension, and you want to avoid doing that when you sing. Vocal untruth number 2, that some singers have more than a 3-octave range. I frequently read about singers with 6 and 7-octave ranges, but this is humanly impossible. The average range is 2 octaves, the maximum 3. If you look at a piano keyboard, you will see that's quite a few notes. If you don't believe me, go to a music store and try to buy a sheet of music which requires for the singer to sing more than 3 octaves. You won't find that music because no one is going to write a melody line that no one can sing. Look at a piano keyboard. There's middle C, and up 2 octaves would be there. Down 2 octaves would be here. So the maximum range, once again, and this is say a tenor with a 3-octave range would sing down to a C below a middle C and up to 3 octaves to the high C. And that's about it, unless you're a freak of nature. Vocal untruth number 3. Vocal untruth number 3 is that you can exercise your diaphragm. I've heard of many voice teachers who get students to lay on the floor and pile books in their midsection in the hopes of making their diaphragm more muscular. But you can't make your diaphragm any more muscular, just like you can't make your heart or your lungs more muscular by going to the gym and pumping weights. I would argue that instead of the diaphragm being more muscular, you want it to be flexible or malleable instead. Vocal fallacy number 4, mouthing of the lyrics. One of the most commonly taught vocal techniques today is mouthing of the lyrics, where students are taught to shape the vowels with their mouth. I see this in choirs especially, where singers are made to go ooh, 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 e, in the hopes of getting better diction by moving their mouth in all these different shapes. Your mouth actually has very little to do with diction. The vowels are formed by the shape of the tongue, and your consonants are formed with the tip of your tongue and your teeth, with the exception of P, M, F, W, B, and V, which requires for your bottom lip to slightly brush your upper plate of teeth. In bel canto, we will learn to sing in dummy face, which means, just like a ventriloquist dummy, nothing from the upper lip up should move. If you watch me sing the 5 basic vowel sounds, you will see that my top lip stays horizontal and stationary. Watch. If you are moving your mouth around to form the diction, as a lot of singers do and are taught to do, you're not going to be able to keep your throat up in a relaxed position, because in order to keep your throat up, this has to be stationary. The whole point behind the bel canto technique. Vocal untruth number 5. Pushing out with your stomach or pushing down with your stomach to use the diaphragm. I see this vocal mistake even from vocal students that have studied at universities, and it's incorrect. The reason that voice teachers have adopted this approach to teaching their students how to use the diaphragm is because it looks exactly like it should when students do use the diaphragm properly. But there are two different things, and I will explain the difference. When you push your stomach down or out, that's all you're doing, pushing the walls of your abdomen outwards. When you do this, your midsection will be taut and rigid. If you use your diaphragm properly, however, you should be able to push in your midsection with your finger and it should bounce right back out. The reason they look the same is because when I use the diaphragm properly, it's going into a lower position, pulling the lungs somewhat down into this cavity and pushing your internal organs in your midsection towards your abdominal walls. Hence they look the same, but one is correct and one is not correct. So here's what happens when you push your stomach out, like some voice teachers tell you. Put it like this. See how it's taut? Very rigid. But if I do it properly using my diaphragm, watch this. It's elastic as a rubber band. And once again, the reason being is during the second example, which was the proper way to use your diaphragm, the diaphragm was going down like this beneath my lungs into a lower position, pulling my lungs downwards somewhat into this cavity and pushing my internal organs in my midsection towards my abdominal walls.